Hey everybody, it's All for His Glory Alone, also known as the Dog Preacher. I prefer things to stay the same if they're not broken. Now, once in a great while, though, when you're forced to change, you find something better, but usually not. Usually you're just settling for whatever's left.
Yeah,
Speaking of settling, how's married life?
wonderful. I
Just,
recommend it.
uh, I know. I'm just waiting for that girl that has some sort of serious brain injury.
Yep, yep. Or blindness.
Has lost all ambition, dreams, and hope,
Right.
and has
Yeah.
the other two things I require. Those she has a bad leg and no sense of smell.
Right.
Yeah, but she
Eh,
can't run. She can't run away.
Yeah. Bonus she's if she's a Calvinist.
Ay, ay, ay. I
A,
know. What the
a,
heck is?
a
What is
blind,
this?
crippled Calvinist
What
woman.
what is this? Like God predestines things and sovereignly decrees things, and yet, I mean, God actually must be Jewish because he has a sense of humor because he's like, I'm going to sovereignly decree everything and I'm going to set up everything and I'm going to tell you about how wonderful the union of marriage is. And now I'm going to make the majority of women Armenian and semi-Pelagian. And
Well, the problem there I think the problem with that is men. I think the reason that so many women are Arminian and yet there's this Calvinist resurgence is because men aren't training their women. They like to go into Google Hangouts and they like to stand at the back of church during fellowship and talk about how wonderful the doctrines of grace are, but they're not having that same conversation with their wives. I know it because I see it.
true, but there's another side to that too, because I'm not doubting that that's true at all in some way, but you part of the reason why, and we're figuratively standing in the back because I'm fat, I always sit down. Um, but
on your motorized scooter you ripped off from Walmart.
right. But when I'm at church, sometimes it's not as bad as like Calvary Chapel or nothing. But there's some songs where I just feel like this is really gay. Like it just is. Now I know we're singing to the Lord and the words aren't gay, but it's like it's hard to be a man at church. Everything's like
Right.
the way it's, yeah. So I think that's part of the reason there. Um,
You need a good hymnal. You need the Trinity
Absolutely.
hymnal.
You should watch my video, which I put up a new thumbnail on,
That's the
where I
one you did
talked.
with Vincent.
Yeah, it was really short, but it
Yeah,
was really good.
I haven't watched that
Um,
one yet.
but the other thing too is that women, uh, they need a lot of attention. They want a lot of whatever, and so they feel like they look at their men doing theology or talking theology, and they look at it almost like it's like their football, or something like
Yep.
that. And so they don't want to, they don't want to. They feel like it's taking their men away from them, so they don't want to be a part of. They don't want to like promote that or something. So they want to be separate from it too. Now that works both ways because you're saying like a lot of men ignore their wives and they sit on Google Plus and stuff. But I find that a lot of times that women are very discouraging of any kind of theological study or any kind of ministry stuff because they think women have been trained in this world to think that, and I know this is going to sound funny, but to think that the kids and the home life and all that stuff is more important than ministry.
Well, what needs to be realized is that that is the primary ministry is
Yes.
is their home and their children. Dude, it's hard for me to be like, I don't know. I feel like I'm so incredibly, incredibly lucky or blessed or whatever, but my wife is very like my wife just gets it in spite of my lack of effort. But because she does. You know, and I think I started encouraging my wife in this back when I started doing street ministry like 5 years ago. You know, and my son was still 2 years old and couldn't walk, and well, he could walk when he was two, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he was little, and my wife is home, and I said, "Honey, this, like the ministry I do isn't possible without what you're doing here. So what you're doing here at home is a direct contribution and overflows into my ministry. Look at it like
Right.
that, not like, oh gosh, I'm stuck home with the kids while you're off doing ministry."
Right.
It's no different than, in some sense, supporting your pastor with prayer or financially or things like that. And
Yeah.
she was like, well, I never really looked at it that way, but she understood right away. But you know, she homeschools the children, and she definitely understands stuff on a level that most Christian women don't. I'm really thankful for that.